Like, they're suing me for something I didn't do. It's just the most bullshit thing. And I literally had to pay them a lot of fucking...
I love this shit, and I'm gonna come back and get a world championship belt at some point.
Are you surprised you went 6 rounds with the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion?
Honestly, I'm not surprised. I just got tired, to be honest. Like, it was just so...
The moment the bell rang, the reality of the situation didn't just set in, it exploded. We all saw the bravado during the press conferences, the diamond-encrusted watches, and the digital noise that defines the modern era of celebrity combat. But when the lights dimmed and the oxygen in the arena got heavy, the script flipped in a way no one expected. There is a specific, haunting vulnerability in hearing a man who has built a brand on being untouchable whisper, "Please be easy on me," into the ear of a literal heavyweight titan. That wasn't just a request for mercy. It was the sound of a carefully constructed illusion hitting a brick wall. Jake Paul didn't walk into a boxing match. He walked into a reckoning. He expected Anthony Joshua to play the role of the aging legend willing to follow a narrative, but AJ isn't a content creator. He is a professional disruptor of anatomy, and 40 seconds after he shattered Jake's jaw, the world realized that the disruptor had finally been disrupted.
Legitimacy, test of his life, and now it looks like the same night exposed contracts, egos, and a business model built on noise and...
The fallout is currently detonating in real time, and it's not just because of knockout loss. Jake Paul is staring down the barrel of a Netflix lawsuit that has the potential to absolutely nuke his entire boxing operation. For years, the narrative was that Jake was saving boxing by bringing in new eyes and massive streaming numbers.
Instead of control.
I heard that Gervonta Davis was being very difficult to work with and Netflix was just waiting for a reason.
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower. He drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA, and I think the recovery time from...
But the legal machine at Netflix isn't interested in vibes or social media impressions. They are interested in the product they paid for, and right now, it looks like they feel they were sold a bill of goods that didn't match the reality. This wasn't some minor disagreement over a promo schedule. This was a billion-dollar platform realizing they bet on volatility and received pure, unadulterated chaos instead. The moment the Joshua fight ended, the energy shifted from sports entertainment to corporate litigation. When a machine that large feels embarrassed, it doesn't send a tweet or post a cryptic Instagram story. It hires...
Then he broke my brother's jaw. Yeah. You don't care though. Jake's having a fucking blast. We'll see him back again for sure. Yeah.
The most expensive lawyers in the world, and starts looking for blood. Think about how fast the atmosphere soured. 1 minute, Jake is walking to the ring with the branding dialed to 11, looking like the future of the sport. The next, executives are reportedly demanding to know why the main event they bankrolled dissolved into hospital footage and a string of canceled follow-up fights. There are whispers, loud ones, that what Netflix expected and what they actually received were two entirely different things. Anthony Joshua didn't just beat Jake Paul. He removed the safety rails that protected the influencer's career since its inception. Joshua wasn't a retired name looking for a payday or a novelty opponent with a reach disadvantage. He was a fully functional, peak-conditioned heavyweight weapon. The moment Jake started circling the ring, instead of imposing his will.
Looks like Jake Paul is trying to bait him into something, but he's the one that's hit the canvas twice in this round. Incredible.
You could see the panic creeping in. It was a slow, subtle, and irreversible realization that some gaps cannot be bridged by charisma or marketing spend. In the 5th round, that gap became a public execution. Joshua never even had to leave second gear. That is perhaps the most terrifying part of the entire night. The danger was controlled. Joshua wasn't swinging wildly. He was patient. He was a man deciding exactly when to end the show. And when that decision landed, it felt like a guillotine. Jake's subsequent claims of just being tired, or pissing AJ off, fell hollow against the backdrop of a broken jaw that titanium plates can't fix. You can't meme your way out of bone damage, and you certainly can't caption your way out of a corporate breach of contract. If you're finding this deep dive into the high-stakes intersection of influencer culture and corporate legal warfare insightful, you should subscribe now. The landscape of combat sports is shifting under our feet, and staying informed is the only way to track how these massive platforms and personalities are fundamentally changing the business of entertainment. Don't miss the next breakdown as we follow the money and the lawsuits behind the scenes. Now, let's talk about the time bomb that nobody in the Paul camp wants to touch yet. This isn't just about one bad night in the ring. It's about the infrastructure of an entire career. Netflix allegedly didn't just lose a fight night. They lost a planned future. The rumors about the canceled Gervonta Davis bout weren't just chatter. They were part of a massive marketing roadmap that included sponsors, projections, and global distribution deals that were already baked in. When those things get pulled unilaterally, massive corporations don't call it a personal choice or a strategic pivot. They call it a breach. A $100 million lawsuit doesn't emerge from a misunderstanding. It emerges from a sense of fury and the legal term willful floating around the reports. In the world of contracts, willful is a terrifying word. It means you knew the consequences, you understood the obligations, and you chose to walk the other way regardless. If that is proven in a court of law, it doesn't just hurt Jake's bank account. It poisons his trust value across the entire industry. Ask yourself this: why would a company as profit-driven as Netflix torch a relationship that was supposedly this lucrative? They wouldn't, unless something behind the curtain went catastrophically wrong. The smiles stopped the moment the paperwork started. Losing to Anthony Joshua was survivable. In fact, losing to a champion can often be spun into a heroic effort narrative. But losing the confidence of the platforms that provide the megaphone, that is radioactive. Sponsors don't usually scream when they leave. They just vanish. Future negotiations don't start with excitement. They start with audits, colder rooms, and harsher terms. Once you are labeled as unreliable in the boardroom, that stain doesn't wash out, no matter how many millions of followers you have or how loud your fan base gets on fight night. Another detail that keeps nagging at me is the contrast in post-fight behavior. Joshua looked like he had just finished a light workout. Calm winners don't feel threatened, and people who don't feel threatened usually move on with their lives. But Netflix didn't move on. They escalated. This suggests that the issue isn't about ego or the fight game. It's about control slipping away and a massive corporation trying to grab it back before even more leaks surface. We're hearing more and more about other fighters being difficult to work with, which is often corporate code for the contracts were stretched to their breaking point. When one agreement snaps, it causes a ripple effect. Every other contract gets audited. Every other promise gets scrutinized under a microscope. The scariest part of this entire saga is that the story doesn't feel anywhere near finished. Legal fights are not like boxing matches. They don't end in 36 minutes. They drag on through discovery, which is a messy, intrusive process where emails, texts, and internal conversations are dragged into the light of day. Narratives die fast in a courtroom. If Jake thinks this begins and ends with a few headlines and a hospital selfie, he is fundamentally misreading the room. This has a potential to get much uglier before it ever gets quiet. The fight didn't end in the 6th round. It just changed venues. The pressure isn't coming from a heavyweight's right hand anymore. It's coming from corporate memory and legal teeth. And those things don't gas out. They grind until something breaks.